Hey world, hey universe. See, beautiful day, like just raining like awesome. And so grateful to be back here once again on this beautiful day speaking to all of you. So last week we touched on a very sensitive and sensational topic. I did expect kind of mixed reviews, but what really gratified me was those comments that were soul stirring. Like some of you had gone so deep within yourself and were so honest enough to accept, yes Riz, I really like, I get what you say and this is the time to make that change. And I'm so very hopeful and motivated, really, to see the kind of community that we are developing through this initiative of ours. So with that gratitude, cap back on, because my mom loves me with this cap. So jumping straight into today's episode, I would call it as like, can we rewrite our story? Okay, can we recreate our story? So why do we have to rewrite our story? We'll jump into it right now. So apparently I received this beautiful depiction, this cartoon from my teacher come friend Dr. M.B. Sudarshanam last week. So he sent this to me, and the moment I saw this, this cartoon, I felt like, wow, what a depiction this is, because I've always wanted to talk about this impact of belief systems and opinions on our growth. Okay, so I'll come back to this cartoon in a short while, because now that we've got this time, given this current circumstance, to reflect, reconnect and settle into our beings, and we've got this time to be able to work on ourselves. Okay, and right after I received this cartoon, I also, coincidentally got to listen to my yet another inspiration, Whitney Johnson. She did this insightful conversation podcast with Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who had just authored a second book, Personality Isn't Permanent. Okay, and so these two things, this cartoon and this podcast, kind of like inspired and pushed me to do this episode about this concept of limiting beliefs. There is so much conflicting views right outside, where we should be in a given time. Like our teachers in school would say, hey, you seem to be physically present but mentally absent, right? How many of us really understood the depth of this comment? And I started to understand this only after I got into this concept of meditation and mindfulness. Okay, so some of us say let go of the past, some of us say be present focused, some of us say be future focused. Okay, so we're going to really see where should we be in a given moment. That's what we're going to dive deep in today. And then there's no right or wrong approach to this discussion. Okay, but it is important to gain some clarity about this. So the first aspect I'm going to talk about is about our past. So how should we see it, or how do we see it? Okay, so our past is gone, right? It's gone. Even if it is a second before, it's gone. But how do we see that narrative? Many of us cling to the past and then use that to define our present and future. Like most of us have had some kind of traumatic experiences in childhood as we grow up, and we use these experiences to draw conclusions about life as a whole. We don't even realize how influential the past has been, in molding our present and apparently our future. Let's get back to this cartoon. Okay, now you got this opinion about somebody, or some person. Okay, that's this little child, this opinion, this judgment that you have formed, or somebody has passed this opinion to you. Okay, like someone does something wrong to us, so you have this opinion now, and then the person does this and the person moves away. Okay, but this experience stays within you, and then you just keep going back and forth about this experience, and then the emotions keep coming back, and then this opinion, and then you keep feeding this emotion. So this opinion, this judgment about this person, and anybody who looks like this person or behaves like this person, it just keeps growing up. It becomes bloated, and then it becomes this big giant ghosty thing, and one day it just swallows you all of a sudden, without even you realizing it. Okay, without you even realizing it, you just become this epitome of this opinion. Okay, this is one opinion I'm speaking about. Like this, we've got millions of opinions. Like someone telling you about your looks. Like in my fitness journey, I shared my limiting belief about someone told me that you are always born to be short and stout like this. Okay, so I thought that that's how I am supposed to be, and until I kind of came out of this limiting belief. So there's one of this friend of mine at school. Okay, she had got this injury in her ankle like when she was 2-3 years old. A very traumatizing injury, but then later it healed and she became all right. But someone told her that protect your ankle, it shouldn't get hurt once again. And then she would just get terrified anytime and every time something comes closer to her ankle. She was hale and healthy, but this one traumatic experience of hers like kind of limited her so much, even with her regular movement or any other activities that she wanted to do. So this is how we form opinions, like about lifestyle, like the opinions that we form about our family and friends, about people who are rich. We say that people who are rich are bad, people who have these expensive cars must have got this from wrong means, or so we form opinions about opinions. And I've even listened to some people saying, this is what my dad told me, so I have to believe in this, and I strongly believe in it. So Rajneesh Osho beautifully puts this, like anybody who gives you a belief system is a fool. Like you have to have your own experience to sort of understand this belief system. Okay, unless you do it, it's really not a belief. Okay, so you've got these opinions about personality types. So I have some links about these personality types given below. Like you use these personality types to understand what sort of personality you are, and more as a guiding principle to understand your strengths. Okay, like so which are your strengths, which are your focus areas, how you should direct your personality towards your career choice that you are making, or what you should actually be focusing at. But what we do with that, I'll tell you. Some of us run these personality types, and then we use that to again build that kind of armor around us. Like if the personality type testing tells you are an introvert, then what you do, okay, I'm an introvert, so I think the personality test also has told me that I'm an introvert. So even if I'm so passionate about like making those social connections, or doing something like this, like talking to people or whatever it is, I use that as an excuse not to proceed forward with my passion and my goal. So believe this, personality based predictions or these alphabets that you get out of these tests are only a guiding indicator to find your strengths. So I would recommend using more of a strengths based approach rather than finding out this alphabet and sticking on to it. You will be surprised if you run these tests frequently, say like every year. If you run these tests, you yourself would be surprised to see how your personalities keep changing based on the experience that you are having. Okay, so now is the time to see how much of these limiting beliefs have really helped us, and how disempowering it's kind of been in deciding our present and future. So first of all, we have to find this filter. Through this we are viewing our present as well as our future. Now some of you might say, like, what's really wrong with this? This is how I've grown up, and this is how I've stayed comfortable with this belief system in place. Okay, I'll ask you this question. Our attentions go where our emotions flow. Now if you keep thinking about this limiting belief, which is not really going to help you connect to your future goals, do you really want to do it? You really want to suffer and suffer and suffer, but you don't want to come out of your limiting belief? See, Dan Sullivan has this beautiful quote. He says that always make your future bigger than your past. Okay, and Tim Ferriss also says this so beautifully. He says you have to have these uncomfortable conversations that you're willing to have, like with your own self, with those people that you believe that are influencing your lives. It's so important to have this uncomfortable conversation, and then bring out that messiness for a moment, but it's all right. But then you are relieved of it. Now you are able to break open that belief system, and you are now able to view your present and future with so much clarity. Like yet another limiting belief for parents. For heaven's sake, I'll tell you this. Like Albert Einstein beautifully puts it, like if you are everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. That's what we are doing. Like, imagine that this child is an orange tree and you as a parent is expecting apple, so you sit under this orange tree and say apple, 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 and this apple is never going to come to you. So many a times we form these limiting beliefs based on our own expectations, our own experiences, and then we disempower our own self as well as the lives of our children. So the second important thing for today that I'm going to talk about is, what do we do right now? We have to now start working on ourselves every other day. So first is we have to do that uncomfortable job, okay, of first understanding what these limiting beliefs are. So this is the time for action. Now imagine this one big goal that you've got, and then look at what steps do you need to take, like how close you are to your goal and what steps you need to take to achieve that goal, and what are these limiting beliefs, like the belief systems that you are having that are holding you back from achieving that goal. Okay, so you have to think about this and write it down, and when you do that, you will be amazed to see, oh my goodness, I never thought that my future self is such a magnanimous, bright thing that I've never imagined. It's so important to really do this job, because many a times it's a limiting belief that's holding you and nothing else. We keep blaming, oh no, because of this I'm not able to achieve, because of that I'm not able to achieve. It's nothing external, it's all internal, it's all within you. All these limits, it's you who have set it based on all the experiences that you've got from your past. And Viktor Frankl, I love this person, like you should read his book. And he says that for the world is in a bad state, but everything will become still worse unless each one of us does his best. So what is that best thing that we want to offer to each one of our own selves, that we can help the world become a better place? So if you ask me, so Riz, what did you do during, with your limiting beliefs? I can be called as an encyclopedia of limiting beliefs. The moment I was introduced to this concept, I started dig deep into myself, and I came with this junk, this pile of limiting beliefs. One such limiting belief I can just immediately share with you is about I would always say yes, because I thought that saying no is a very demeaning thing, or it's like a hurting thing that I do to people. So I would always say yes. Anybody comes and asks me, I would say yes. Then I realized that if I have to move forward towards that purpose and the meaning that I have set for my own self, then it's sometimes very important to say no. So I have learned to come out of this limiting belief of mine. The second thing is, I would be so very afraid to make these uncomfortable conversations with people. Sometimes I would want to tell something to people, but I would not have that audacity to just kind of tell them that this is what I feel, or this is what is bothering me. And I took those attempts during this time to really make those uncomfortable conversations, some of which terribly failed, but never mind. I think it's all about making that step forward, right? And so the questions for today is that, what sort of belief system is hindering or affecting your growth? It's holding you from growing, okay? And share it in the comment section. The best comment would receive a gift. And the first step to create your magnanimous future is to break open the shell that you have built from the past, and you have to do it now. Okay, so with that thought, I'm going to wait to receive your feedback and comments about your experiences about limiting beliefs. And until I see you next week, signing off with infinite love, gratitude and bliss. This is yours, Riz. Let the soul speak.